What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar with C-Zar Gets Crypto. I want to talk about Bitcoin Cash today. And before we get into the charts, I do want to talk about Bitcoin Cash because there's a lot of people out there who think one way or another. And one way is Bitcoin Cash is B-trash. It's going to zero. It's a fake Bitcoin, just like the rest of them, And there's the other side that's Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. It's the true Bitcoin. It's the only way to go if you're really about crypto. This should be the obvious choice. And for me, I'm not really in either of those camps. I don't think Bitcoin Cash is going to replace Bitcoin. I think it has a possibility to. I think it does. More than most cryptos, it actually has a chance to replace Bitcoin. But I don't think it will. And nor do I think it's trash, nor do I think it's garbage, nor do I think it's a fake Bitcoin. I think, I honestly think, if anything, if you look at it, like really take your bias out. If you're one of those people who's getting all huffy and puffy and you want to write a comment as soon as you hear Bitcoin Cash, whether it's on one side or another, take a second and breathe and realize that Bitcoin Cash is a better Bitcoin. It literally is. It's faster. It's cheaper to send. It's cheaper to buy right now. It's just more efficient all the way through. And it's just as secure as Bitcoin, arguably just as secure. It might be more centralized, but more centralization does equal more security. And then also for all the people who are like thinking Bitcoin Cash is the truth, that are like, yeah, say good things about Bitcoin Cash. I mean, it's not BTC. It doesn't have the same market cap. It doesn't have the same amount of participants in mining. It's not technically as safe as Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is slower, but it was here first in a lot of the people's eyes. Even though Bitcoin Cash, to be fair, has been here just as long. And I do think when people start to realize what Bitcoin Cash is, whenever they start to actually look into it, it's gonna have a solid chance. It's gonna pump. I mean, like right now it's at $114. Who knows? Maybe it drops to $60, $30, $80 from here, whatever. But eventually, inevitably, in my opinion, because it's set up the same way Bitcoin is. There's only 21 million. Its halving date is more or less. It's going to be a little after Bitcoin's because it's got less miners involved. So there's going to be fewer transactions done, which means the halving date is going to be a little bit further out. But long story short, it's set up the same way that Bitcoin is. There's only going to be 21 million of them. I thoroughly do believe Bitcoin Cash will be worth tens of thousands of dollars in the same time frame that Bitcoin itself, BTC, will be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. If Bitcoin can go to $1 million, Bitcoin Cash can go to $100,000. And what I'm trying to get at is, even at the price right now, which I think is too high to buy, at 114, if Bitcoin Cash was to go to 20 grand or 19,000, like Bitcoin did in the previous bull cycle, I guess technically two bull cycles back, the 2017 bull cycle, if Bitcoin Cash was to go to a similar price area that BTC did, then it would be, right now, it'd be like 165x, 166x. $1,000 turns into $166,000. Like that's the kind of math. I think, am I wrong? No, that's right. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that we're seeing. And it doesn't have to stop there. Bitcoin Cash could be one day worth millions of dollars. That's completely possible. I think it'll take longer than Bitcoin does to get there, but who really knows? Let alone $100,000. If Bitcoin Cash became worth $100,000, I mean, you'd be looking at a near 1,000x from the current prices. You know what I mean? $1,000 turns into $1 million, and I do think that that's possible. I think if Bitcoin itself, if BTC is going to go to millions of dollars one day, which if anybody's in crypto and they know about Bitcoin and they you've actually taken the time to study this stuff, we all know Bitcoin. I'm 20. I don't know if I should say my age. I'm in my late 20s, and I know that in my lifetime, before I hit 40, Bitcoin is going to be worth at least $1 million. Like that's going to happen. If it doesn't happen, some weird shit's going on in the world. But sometime before I hit 40, which that's give or take 15 years, Bitcoin itself is going to be worth $1 million. And if Bitcoin Cash follows suit with Bitcoin, which I do think it will, I think it'll be worth several $100,000 in the same amount of time. And that's a stupendous markup, I just got to say. All right, so without talking too much about it, because I know I get lost, I get carried away, I can ramble a lot. Let's just look at the actual charts themselves. Let's look at the chart. and get this underway. Man, my nose, I don't know if it's just like this part of the house or what, but my nose is really itchy every time I make a video. I don't know what it is. I don't do nose sugar, guys. I've actually never done that in my life, so I really don't. There's no excuse for it. Anyways, looking at the daily time frame here, I think, you know, we've been moving sideways for a while. Maybe we go up a little bit, maybe we come down a little bit, whatever. But we are getting, in my opinion, getting ready for a move to the downside. And we can see that with this MA here. It just shifted to the downside, started having a downward slope, a negative slope. As price goes lower, the slope will get more intense. And in my opinion, I think that's exactly what's going on. Just as, you know, we had a change here and price continued to go up and up and up. Now, you know, we've started to peter out since then. The slope slowly declined. We're at the decline now, and we are below the 50 on the daily time frame, which is not a good look. Also, potentially rejecting the 50 on this lower RSI as well. To me, it just looks like we're in the beginning of another downtrend for Bitcoin Cash, and it may have been in a downtrend since February of this year. You've got lower highs, you've got lower lows, kind of. Not really. It is kind of a weird. You know, this might be a diamond. You don't see them too often. This actually might be a diamond pattern. Man, I haven't seen a diamond in a long time. This isn't how you draw a diamond. I'm just using this ABCD just for funsies. But yeah. Oh yeah. Because it kind of works the same way. Normally with diamond patterns, you do get this kind of extreme little like dip and up. Like just like that. That is definitely a diamond, man. And it broke out bearishly, and it came back up. It looks like yeah, this probably wants to go down. I think we have broken out of this diamond pattern, and ultimately they have a pretty good success rate. I think it's over 60% of following through with the direction of the breakout. They're also known after the breakout to have throwbacks or pullbacks to the point that it broke out at, and that would probably be like right around here, which it did pull back almost to there. So that might have been what this was. But it's known for that before continuing lower. And I do think with everything else that's going on, I think this is going to go lower. Man, I haven't seen a diamond in a long time. I'm gonna draw this a little bit better for you guys so you can see. Diamond patterns are a thing. In the 2018 bear market for Bitcoin, they were all over the place, man. It was like the year of the diamond, I swear. But they look just like this. I actually haven't identified a diamond in quite some time, but they really do. You know, they. Like, look at that. I mean, you got 2 points on this line that have touched at least. You've got 3 points on this line, 3 points on this line. I think it can't have more than 3, or maybe it's more than 2 is like the rule. But, you know, whatever the rule is, generally in a diamond pattern, you do see this kind of like extreme drop or extreme pump. Like you see this kind of V shape in the middle of it almost always. Like that's the dead giveaway for most diamond patterns. And on the daily time frame too, this is significant. How you would measure it is you would take the top part of the diamond, you would measure it down to the bottom part of the diamond, and then from the point of break, that's basically the price target. So that right there would be at $93. I could see the price going there. It's taking its time. When it wants to break out of this little weird sideways range it's doing, it'll probably move pretty quickly, days or weeks to get down there once it finally makes a decision, which I think it's coming to. This could even be a mini diamond itself, but anyways, the main thing that I'm trying to say here is Bitcoin Cash on a daily time frame does look bearish. Maybe it goes up a little bit. If it does, I very much doubt it goes up. Like even $10 more from here. I would be surprised. I would definitely be surprised if it got above this purple line. If it did, it would be a great time to sell because we're below the 50 on this RSI, and we're below, having the purple line pointed down with price going above that. That would be a perfect time to sell, ideally. And I do think that this lower term RSI, lower time frame RSI, it looks like it wants to reject the 50. It just can't get above it, man. So it's probably going to test these oversold levels and honestly probably dip into them, and that's when we'll see these bigger moves. That'll take us around $94, below 100. Below 100 for sure. I would say we're going to go below 100, which is further away than above 24 would be. $10 away from 124 or below 100, we're $14 away from. I would sooner bet that we're going to break $100 before we break 124. I wouldn't even expect 124, honestly. I don't think we'll go at this high again, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. Let's look at the weekly. Yeah, bad, man. Very bad. Yeah. You've got a high here and a lower high here, but price is at a lower high. I mean, like, really, you've got your high. If this was a whole range, right? If this whole thing, and it is a price range. This whole thing, it's kind of a head and shoulders, honestly. I don't know what to make of that, you know, but regardless, this whole range here, if we were to put a line right at this high, you've got lower highs over here for sure, and this is by the closing period. This isn't by the wicks. Even if it was by the wicks, we've got highs over here that are higher, but by the closing period, which is on the candle bodies itself, we've got higher highs over here, and look at where the RSI is. Whenever you see this kind of stuff, whenever the price is lower in one area than it was before, especially right before, but the RSI is higher in one area than it was before, like, this is not a good look. This is really not a good look. And truthfully, man, yeah, you've got bearish divergence for sure. Bitcoin Cash does. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, look at how very close all of these tops are on the candles. They're right at that line. And just look at how much, you know, these are getting noticeably lower highs on the RSI. Yeah, I think I really do think that's a diamond up there. It just looks like a diamond, and we are going to see some follow through. Definitely down to these prices. I think we are ultimately going to go lower for Bitcoin Cash. And looking at the weekly, the fact that we are below the 50, the purple line is postured to the downside. You know, it's not an extreme slope, and we are pretty far away from it. But you know, we can be far away from it for a while. You know, it can come down to us after we've dropped. Yeah, I don't know. I think if we were to make a run up for this line, it would have happened already, and we haven't done that. So with the RSI looking the way it is, having this hidden bearish divergence where you have lower highs in price but higher highs in your oscillator, you also have lower highs here where all these highs are the same. I'd call that classic bearish divergence. I think this thing on a weekly scale, daily scale, it looks bad. Weekly scale, it looks worse, in my honest opinion. This one looks like it wants to go into the oversold zones for sure. Not just bounce off it, but go into it. It's just so weak, man. And you're gonna get some big candles whenever we move down there. I mean, the last time we were oversold, just to put it in perspective, like as soon as we went into oversold that week, we had a 18% candle close with a total range of like all the way down 43% in 1 week. And then, you know, let's see, after that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, about a month and a half after that, we dropped a total, I guess maybe let's just say 2 months after that, we dropped a total of 54%. And that was after getting into the oversold zone. So let alone before, which we're in the before right now. I think as we get closer to this oversold territory, weaker readings in the RSI, we're going to get stronger moves to the downside. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah, I don't like it. I really don't like it. On the monthly time frame, yeah, we rejected the bullish control zone area / we are firmly in it. I would expect extensions off of this, seeing this kind of setup from bottom to high. I would fully expect prices to go to $74 to $61. And to me, that makes a little sense. You know, $74, that would be a double bottom at its all-time lows. Maybe it holds that line. I actually have pretty high confidence Bitcoin Cash could hold that line. If not, it goes to 61. I really doubt it goes much lower than that. Maybe it goes to 52. Maybe it goes to $50. Let's see if there's any other fibs that line up. 67 at the 1212, 1272, and that's right at the 1414. It could be below $70. Maybe we do get a slightly lower low. Maybe we don't. You know, maybe this 1212 or 1272 gets front run. Let's see if this over here has anything. Yeah, I don't see this happening, man. I don't see $31 Bitcoin Cash happening. So for any of the overly ridiculous bears, I don't expect that. And in fact, let's just see from current prices. I want to do a quick comparison of Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin real quick, and that'll wrap up the video. So if Bitcoin Cash goes to at a lowest $63, I believe is what it was, 63. You know, That's a 43% drop. If you've watched my videos, if you've stayed up to date, you know that when I've talked about Bitcoin and where it's going to drop from its current price, from high to low, at least a 52% drop is coming, but I think it's going to go further than that. I'm expecting prices to go below 10K. So below 10K would put Bitcoin at a 63% drop. If you haven't started thinking already what I'm about to say, you should start thinking like this. How is it that Bitcoin Cash, an altcoin, is going to drop less than Bitcoin? That doesn't make sense. When Bitcoin drops, every other crypto drops more. It's how it is. It's literally how it is. For better or for worse, it's just how it is. But on Bitcoin Cash here, I have a 20% lower drop rating than Bitcoin. 20% lower. And the reason for that is, for one, from top to current bottom, Bitcoin Cash has already dropped 94%. A drop lower right there, that would put it at a 96% drop. Whereas Bitcoin at a $10,000 drop, I believe that would only put it at like an 80-something percent. Let's see. From top to bottom. Let's just see. Top. Yeah, it was actually just there. So 85%. That's the difference, man. Bitcoin Cash has already dropped so much. And it could drop more. It really could drop more. But here's why. Here's the real reason why I don't think... I do think it will drop, but not as much as Bitcoin. And it's all in the BCH-BTC chart. So if you look at this, BCH-BTC on Coinbase, I've already got it pulled up, actually, conveniently enough. So from bottom to high of this little section here, I'll draw it again. Bottom to high. We're right now at the 1618, and actually we're bouncing off of it. We're bouncing off of it. We literally bounced right off the 1618, I'm sorry, it's a golden extension. On the monthly time frame, this is big shit right here, man. There is a low, a higher low, and a higher low mixed in with the low, a lower low, and a lower low. This is classic bullish divergence, okay? Very classic bullish divergence. And in my opinion, at the least, when you see something like this, at the least, the expectation would be to go back where the divergence originally formed, which is at this low here. And that, even if we went up to the 886, that's 144, that's basically 145% gain against Bitcoin, okay? It's not in dollars. This is against Bitcoin. So this is what I mean. And this is what it looks like to me could happen, especially with this bullish divergence and holding this 1618, going back to a deep retracement, the 786 or the 886. This is classic Fibonacci retrace behavior. It really is. At least to the 1272, which again, that's a 55% increase against Bitcoin. So how can Bitcoin Cash drop 43% when Bitcoin is expected, from current prices, when I'm expecting Bitcoin to drop, not 85% from current prices, maybe 62%. You know what I mean? How can Bitcoin drop more than Bitcoin Cash? Well, for one, Bitcoin Cash has already had a 94% drop as of right now, and putting it down that low would be a 96% drop. For two, Bitcoin Cash has, where is it? Yeah, triple bullish divergence. What was I looking at? Oh, that's right. So not on the price. It's not triple bullish divergence on the price. It's triple bullish divergence on the BCH Bitcoin Cash pair. BCH Bitcoin pair. There we go. Yeah, triple bullish divergence. This is big shit. This tells me, it's not about the price versus US dollars. It's about the price versus Bitcoin. This tells me, it's been firmly in a downtrend. This chart looks abysmal. It doesn't look good. You know what I mean? This is the kind of stuff that makes me think Bitcoin Cash will never surpass Bitcoin. It has a chance to. I suppose every crypto does, or most cryptos do, or some cryptos do. But you take this low to high, we're bouncing right off the 1618, triple bullish divergence. I really can't help but think this thing wants to go at least back to the 618, and maybe then it turns back lower, But to be completely fair, that would also be the biggest pump up in its history on this kind of chart, and the RSI would be at the strongest readings it's ever been at that point. So, this could be a very major turning point for Bitcoin Cash, and we wouldn't even know it because the price is still going to drop along with Bitcoin. But what would be key is that it drops less in comparison to Bitcoin. Or maybe it has a bad day and then it recoups and then it just chills. Bitcoin drops while it's just chilling, or Bitcoin Cash slowly drops but not as fast. that's kind of my expectation. And man, I mean, there's really not much to go off of. If you're looking at price, I guess we can. Let's see, or not price, but whatever this is. I mean, that's 3 clean touches, right off of this low here even. That's kind of, that could be a line. I don't like slanted lines. I normally actually only like horizontal lines. And, this one is going to be a big one for sure to break through. That one, wow. That one's right at 0.005. That's like a psychological number. I could see that being some resistance. But if we break through that, that could be a big deal too. And going from top to bottom here, the 1618 would be right up at that line. Right up at that line at the end of the year. And Bitcoin Cash could drop in price versus US dollars, but not drop as hard as Bitcoin does. And it would make its move up. And I do think by the end of this year, Bitcoin itself is going to dump. Find its low by the end of this year, late Q4. That's what I'm expecting. It could happen in early Q1. I'm not expecting that so much, but it could. Late Q4, maybe even late Q1. Let's say late Q4 to late Q1. That's the time range. And at the end of the year here, if Bitcoin Cash doesn't dump as hard from like here on out, basically, that would be a pretty, in my opinion, that'd be a pretty expected price area. Right there at the 10, whatever that's like 1% of a Bitcoin, basically. I don't know, man. I'm not saying that I'm bullish on Bitcoin Cash with this chart. I'm just bullish on it versus Bitcoin. Ultimately, I'm bearish. I do think Bitcoin Cash is going to go lower. I think it'll go to prices around $60 to $75, somewhere in there, before it even thinks about going up. And then, I guess truthfully, ultimately, I am bullish on Bitcoin Cash. I do think it has a bright future. It's definitely got a very bright future. I think it'll be worth tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars one day. And right now it's at $114. I know that sounds crazy, but man, it's set up the exact same way Bitcoin is. It's literally set up, it's better. It is better than Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin BTC is always going to reign king. I don't think BCH is going to overtake Bitcoin. I think it could, it's possible, but it's got a lot of work before that happens. And what I really think is that if BTC, being the obsolete, inefficient, form of Bitcoin that it is, if it can reach prices of $1 million, which I thoroughly believe it will, at some point in my lifetime, some point probably in the next 10 to 20 years, it'll be worth $1 million or several $1 million. If I think that for Bitcoin, then I also automatically think for Bitcoin Cash, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Like it can genuinely be worth that. And let's just look at this chart on the weekly and see if we can get anything. I don't know. Let's see here. There's no bullish divergence playing out, but you are coming out of the overbought zone, and you are, that is good. That's definitely good. Kind of bounced off of the overbought line where you've bounced before and shown, this is good. This is classic, but to prove that you're not going to just go lower, you don't want this. You want moves that are, I guess unlike anything that it's ever had in its life. You want moves that actually are sustained to the upside, or like, systematically going up like that. We are below the 50 on this line. This line is firmly down. So as of right now, I can't help but be bearish on this line, on this chart, but I am optimistic with that 1618 bottom that it looks like we have. I wonder if this one has anything too, from bottom to low. That's pretty close to the 1618. And this is a bullish posturing. Whenever you barely get there and you can't quite touch it, that is a bullish posturing. But on the major one, from here to here, and it's like right on the 1618, that's more significant to me. So I'm going to roll with that. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's everything I got for Bitcoin Cash, man. I'll leave you with a little prophecy, I guess. I don't know. I've had a dream, and oddly enough, I know it's I'm part Native American, and they believed in dream walking or not. I say they as in all Native Americans. I don't know. I'm part Cherokee, and there were people in Native tribes that were they would interpret dreams to kind of like tell you your fortune or like tell you your nature or whatever. And I I've had a dream with my Native American blood. I've had a dream that Bitcoin Cash will compete with Bitcoin one day. And not in the sense that, oh, they're neck and neck. Bitcoin Cash is worth $1 million. Bitcoin's worth 1.1. No, not like that. But like that there will be a narrative that Bitcoin might not be the real Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash is. And that's already kind of a narrative, right, since the beginning of Bitcoin Cash. But, you know, this is all hocus pocus here. But this, I told you, it's a prophecy. And my dream was that there was a kind of, let's call it a confusion as to which one was real. And because of that, Bitcoin Cash sees a dramatic pump. And I literally, in my dream, saw it being worth 100,000. It's like 100 and I don't know how much thousand, but it was like a six-figure number. I had this dream like 2 years ago. And, you know, I'm not saying all my dreams come true. I'm not saying that's how it is. You know, definitely not. I've had my fair share of dreams that have come true. You know, the other day, the Heat beat the Celtics in Game 7. I had a dream that the Celtics lost. You know, I had a dream that that CZ was going to go to jail. I had a dream that CZ was going to go to jail and Binance was going to be closed down forever. And it never was. He never did, although, you know, he had people that were after him for, like, legal pursuit and stuff like that. And I'm talking about CZ. CZ is the, like, the CEO of Binance, if you don't know. And not shortly after that dream, Binance did close down. It did have, it held withdrawals for like a week or like 3 days or something like that. And CZ didn't go to jail. Binance didn't shut down like officially. You know, it's still up and running, and I think it will be. I think it's here to stay. But that was around the time that I had a dream. I'm just trying to say, guys, it's a prophecy. It's foo-foo nonsense. And in my prophecy, Bitcoin Cash was worth over $100,000. And from current prices, a Bitcoin Cash that's worth over $100,000 would be roughly, it would be like a 943x, which is ridiculous. That's $1,000 turning into $943,000. And if the price were to go lower, like I think it does, and goes around 75 or less, you're looking at a 1,400x, which is nuts, right? Is that proper? Yeah, that's the math. 1,400, give or take 10 x's. But that's my little fubu bufu prophecy, whatever. I do think Bitcoin Cash has the capacity to go there, and the reason we know it does, the reason we know that it at least has the capacity to go to $20,000 is because BTC, Bitcoin, already has. And no, they're not the same. They are different. Bitcoin Cash is better. It's literally better in almost every sense of the way. It is better. So with that, I really don't have doubts that it's going to be there. You know, you look at CoinGecko, Bitcoin Cash here is at 29. Bitcoin Cash, since its inception, has been in the top like 40, top 30 even, I think, cryptos. Its entire inception. That is miraculous. That is a stamp of approval, in my opinion. You know, there are very wealthy people that are involved with Bitcoin Cash. It is a legitimate thing. I think the guy, maybe he's the prime minister of St. Kitts or the prime minister of one of those Caribbean islands. I can't remember the name. It might be St. Kitts. But he's taking his whole salary in Bitcoin Cash right now. Roger Ver, if you don't know who Roger Ver is, he's Bitcoin Jesus. That's you know, not a self-proclaimed title. That was the title that was given to him because in the beginning days of Bitcoin, he promoted this stuff. He was an angel investor in a lot of Bitcoin companies, and he invested very heavily in Bitcoin, and not just invested, but he promoted it, man. Like, he got the word out there about Bitcoin. Like he's on, and he's got good intentions, at least for crypto. Like he really does. He's in it for the right reasons, you know. And I'm sure he wants to make a buck while he's doing it. He's putting a lot of work into it and a lot of his own money. But you know, I'm sure he wants to, you know, get his cut of the pie if he can. But you know, there's a lot of like negative media and negative imagery around this guy, Roger Ver, and his team, and it's like they own Bitcoin Cash, but they don't own it. You know, they don't control it. They might have the most holdings of it, and in that sense make it more centralized, and to a certain degree they do control it. But you know, that's how Bitmain is with Bitcoin, I guess. You don't hear about Bitmain too often. Look up Bitmain if you don't know who Bitmain or what Bitmain is. But Roger Ver, I think a lot of people, you know, it's been a lot of time. Roger Ver back here in 2019, toward the bottom and even here, he was getting a lot of hate. He was the guy that everybody just liked to poke and make fun of in crypto, and he would lash out, man. He reminded me of one of my good buddies, just in the way that he would act childish to people who were mean to him. And it's like, man, you can't act that way. Like I would hear past all of his childish behaviors because I'm like, okay, all these people are poking fun, but like let's actually hear what he has to say. And he said some things that in my opinion were just like stupid. Like he just shouldn't have said it, but he got emotional. You know, he's definitely an emotional person, a sensitive person. You can see it because he gets triggered so easy. And I think he's learned to dial it back a little bit, but what I'm trying to get at is he's not a bad person. He's not a dumb person. And he's a force to be fucked with, man. He's a force to be reckoned with. And like he literally, man, he started a lot of things for Bitcoin. And he's taking all of his energy and all of his time and all of his efforts. He's literally trying his best to put Bitcoin Cash exactly where Bitcoin is. And this is a guy who's a multi-billionaire, you know, and he's working in the shadows. You know, he makes his stuff public. If you follow him on YouTube, you can, you know, he'll keep you up to date, or his team will keep you up to date on what's new with Bitcoin Cash. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of places in Asia that accept Bitcoin Cash, and like I said, there's the prime minister of one of these Caribbean islands. He takes his whole pay in Bitcoin Cash, and it's not, you know, I can't say that about any place for Bitcoin. I know El Salvador made it legal tender, but I doubt any of their political officials are taking their salary in Bitcoin. I don't know, man. It's cheaper, it's faster, it's more efficient, and it's truthfully, it is closer to like what Bitcoin should be than what BTC is itself. The only thing that really BTC has going for it over Bitcoin Cash is it's less decentralized. I think it is less decentralized. But who knows? It might be more decentralized. I really don't know. Anyways, this last little bit of the video has just been a rant, a bunch of like just whatever, you know, just me talking about Roger Ver, a guy who I don't even know, who I probably never will know. I would love to meet Roger Ver. Roger Ver, if you ever hear this, man, I would love to pick your brain, man. I would be honored, but I doubt it. I doubt I'll get that chance. I actually have a friend who knows Roger Ver, like personally knows him. But you know, guy's a busy guy, and he's not an American. He's an expatriate now, so that's, you know, he's probably not coming back to America anytime soon. And I'm not going to go to him. So that's just a pipe dream. I would totally talk to Roger Ver, man. I would love to pick his brain. That would be fucking awesome, actually. But anyways, enough of that. Enough of all this. I hope you enjoyed the first half of this video, because the last half has definitely been a bunch of ramble. And I hope I didn't lose anybody, like subscriber wise or anything. By the way, subscribe and like the video if you liked all the ramble and you like the TA and stuff. To wrap it up in a short bow, I do think Bitcoin Cash has value. I think it is better than Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to overpass Bitcoin. I don't think it's the real Bitcoin. I don't know. I don't have an opinion either way. I do think Bitcoin's going to reign supreme. So in that sense, it's the true Bitcoin. But Bitcoin Cash, you know, it's got a lot of good features to it too that are more, in my opinion, more closely related to what Bitcoin should be. But it doesn't matter, because the public's going to decide what Bitcoin should be. As long as BTC holds its limit of 21 million Bitcoins and there's nothing more that comes of that, it's just 21 million, and it stays true to its like code, you know, then it's the real deal. It's the real deal all the way through. But if there's things that change fundamentally in Bitcoin, you know, it'll screw itself over in the long run, because the next best thing is Bitcoin Cash, and it's just waiting, man. It's waiting for people to give it a chance and get some liquidity in there. And I have a feeling that Roger Ver and the boys are buying it up down here, man. They are mining it and buying it, and I bet they, you know, these are people that have billions of dollars at their dispense, and I would bet money that they're not going to let this thing go to zero, man. I really don't think so. And while they're buying it here at $114 for however much they're putting in, you know, I think it will be worth tens of thousands of dollars one day in the next cycle, potentially. Like genuinely 2025, 2024, somewhere in there, it could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. Let's just, you know, while we're at the end here, while nobody's watching, why not? Let's just do it. BTC USD, index, all-time history. And then I'm going to compare Bitcoin Cash, BCH, USD, Coinbase. We're going to do new price scale. I'm going to just look at the time. And we can make this one a candle too. Let's make these candles. Candles. There we go. All right. So there's this one, right? And there's this one. Can I not move that back further? I guess I can't. That's it. Okay, whatever. Log scale, yes. Okay. Is this in a log scale too? We log in this one. Let me see. Haha. There we go. Okay, logarithmic for both of them. There we go. Oops. Can I not move this? I thought that's what this allowed me to do. What is going on here? Okay, whatever. So Bitcoin Cash right now is worth $114, right? It says it over here, $114. When Bitcoin was worth $114, you know, it was basically right here in this range. This was the only time, maybe right here. Yeah, 166, 162. So it was this time over here, this little shelf, this tiny little shelf, about right there. I think that's the closest I'm going to get. 106, 121, 100, 106, 104, whatever. This area where Bitcoin Cash is now, how it's been plateauing, it's the same tiny little plateau that Bitcoin had here. I want to point something out. Okay, so what I'm pointing out is that when Bitcoin was here, it was only here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 months. You know, half a year. Let's call it a half a year. And not shortly after, I mean, in this range, it went to a low of $65. Hey, that's kind of the area that I'm thinking it could bottom at, $65, and it went up in less than half a year. It went up 17, 18x basically. Okay. Let alone, and then we had a bear market. We bottomed about 2 years later, or like a year and 3 quarters later, and then let's see, in a total amount of time, basically, from being at its lowest point over here, it took what would that be? About 4.5 years. It took about 4.5 years. Okay. To get to 20,000. And this was after, by the way, it had been in this range for only like 5 or 6 months. It had been in this range, this whole range down here, for about, you know, before it broke its all-time high there, it had been in that range for about 4 years. Okay? And this range was a lot higher in price. Definitely a lot higher in price. You know, we're talking about anywhere from 1,000 to 160. It's a lot higher prices than Bitcoin is now. And Bitcoin Cash did go up to like $1,000. It did go up to like $1,600, and it started off way higher than that even. But for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for a year versus 6 months. It's been in this price area, the same shelf that this was, but twice as long. Okay, not in the endings of a bull rally. You know, in fact, it might be in the middle of a bear rally. It might still have its last leg to go. My question is, when it tops, when it has its next cycle top, do you think it's going to top where Bitcoin topped after it had its shelf right here and after it broke this? And it topped, by the way, at, what is that? Let's see. Open. Oh, it doesn't tell me, man. That's great. Yeah, let's see. $1,240. Okay. That was after being in this for 6 months and probably being pretty hot. Yeah, pretty hot on the frickin' RSI, man. Really hot. for a long time. At the end of the bull rally, it took 6 months being here, and it went up 1,700%, 1,800%. Do you think that after chilling in this area for a year, potentially double bottoming, which it did not double bottom here, but potentially double bottoming off of all-time lows, would you think that this is going to be a spectacular rally afterwards or a mediocre rally afterwards? My thoughts are this will be a spectacular rally, a very spectacular rally. And I don't think it's going to top at $1,200. I think it is going to find its top around here, because truthfully, Bitcoin Cash has been in this kind of whole sideways pattern now that's been below, it's been below $1,700, okay? And at the lowest point, it's been at $80. It's been in this for like 4.5 years. 4.5 years, man. Which, by the way, again, top here to when it broke this top, which was over, let's see, it was this candle here that it broke its top. That's about the same amount of time, give or take 200 days. You know, and technically on this candle is whenever it broke it. Like, that was the big move up. I don't know, technically this candle, whatever. And this was the run, by the way, all the way up to $19,000. Mind you, it was at higher prices, so maybe it doesn't go all the way, maybe Bitcoin Cash doesn't go all the way up to $19,000, but to $10,000, to $3,000, to $8,000, you know, like, if Bitcoin Cash bottoms at $65 over here, right, on this side, because it's on a different chart, if it bottoms at 65, which would be about there on the chart, let's just like zoom it. Man, I can't. I wish I could pull it down. We're just going to go to Bitcoin Cash itself and look at it. If Bitcoin Cash can bottom around $65, then all it needs is $6,000 for a 100x. Yeah. Anyways, that's all. Take care. This was a long video, but I kind of did it more for me, more for fun anyways. Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.